Now, we need to find out if this light has come to us. What is the light that shows us that Christ is near, even at the door? Because that generation that sees him at the door will not pass until what? All these things be fulfilled. Matthew 24, 32, 33, 34. Now, we're going on a quest now. You ready to study? Great Controversy 592. We were here earlier and we found out that with the union of the image of the beast, the leading churches are already united as of 2005. And what they need to do is to influence the state to pass a Sunday law. Now, my friends, in order to get legislation, you have to have people that want legislation. Is that right? So how is the Sunday law coming? It says the dignitaries, that's the leaders of church and state, will unite to bribe, persuade, or compel all classes to honor what? The Sunday. The lack of divine authority will be supplied by oppressive enactments. Political corruption is what? Destroying love of justice. Do we see political corruption today? Today a politician will stand up and say, I didn't take any money from the account. Tomorrow he says, I'm sorry for embezzling $6 million. Well, that's corruption, my friends. This says political corruption is destroying the love of justice and regard for truth. And even in free America, rulers and what? Who are the legislators? These are the lawmakers. If we're going to get a Sunday law, we must have the legislators' influence. Is that right? This shows how the Sunday law is coming. This says rulers and legislators in order to do what? Secure what type of favor? What does it mean when it says public favor? The popular vote. This says public favor will not push, but will what? So are the legislators going to push the Sunday law, or are they going to give in to the Sunday law? We need to understand how Sunday is coming. Are you following me? Sunday is not coming from the top to the bottom. There's no lawmaker that's going to simply pass a secret bill through and all of a sudden tomorrow Sunday law passed. That is not prophecy. Revelation 13:14 says, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast. So the power rests with the people. The people are going to be deceived into wanting an image of the beast, just like the people were deceived into asking to crucify Jesus. The popular vote, crucify Jesus. Now, my brothers and my sisters, this says, will yield to the popular demand for a what? Law enforcing Sunday observance, liberty of conscience, which has caused so great a sacrifice, will no longer be respected. In the soon coming conflict, we'll see exemplified the prophet's words, and it quotes Revelation 12:17. But my point is this. When the Sunday law comes, it will not come by surprise or sneak in. It will come by a popular what? Demand. In other words, the majority of the people will say, give us Sunday. Are you with me? But I told you earlier that the majority of people are not going to church today. The majority of people will find more interest out there in the world than coming to church. And if we have the spirit of the world, then we're more interested in leaving church than we are to come to church. And so, my friends, this shows us very clearly that what is going to bring this Sunday law on is that the popular demand from the people will be the Sunday law. What is going to get the attention of the people that don't care anything about God? 1 Timothy 6, verse 9. Let's read it. 1 Timothy 6, verse 9, what does it say? But they that will be rich do what? Fall into what? 1 Timothy 6 verse 9. They that will be rich fall into temptation and snare. Did it say being rich was a snare? No, I didn't say that. They that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts, which drown men in destruction and perdition. You know, when a man is seeking to become rich, when he is so desirous to become rich, you know he's being headed toward a trap. Did you know that? Not the man that is rich, the man that would be rich, that wants to be rich. He's falling into a trap. Now, my friends, you can die in a sweet trap or a bitter trap. Is that right? There can be a sweet death or a bitter death. How many ever seen ants? You know ants, they love honey, don't they? You ever seen ants die in honey? That's a sweet death, isn't it? But it's death nonetheless. You know that man will die in a sweet death, so they call it. So the Bible says, they that be rich fall into this temptation. Verse 10 says, for the what? Not money, but what? The love of money is the root of some evil. How much evil? All evil which while some coveted after, they have erred from the faith and pierced themselves through with many sorrows. That means that as Seventh-day Adventists or any man that believes the Bible, that we need to learn a lot about money. Because if the love of money is the root of all evil, and the mark of the beast is the epitome of evil, can you get further in evil than the mark of the beast? When a man receives the mark of the beast, he reflects the image of Satan fully. Just as the man who receives the seal reflects the image of Jesus fully. Now, my brothers and my sisters, that tells me that if the mark of the beast is evil, what is at the root of the mark of the beast? Not money, the love of money. Are you with me? So the reason why the majority of people are going to want to pass a Sunday law is for the love of... Now, my friends, the mighty dollar will make men do things they will not do. Did you know that? Mighty dollar will make men do things they don't want to do. And I told you earlier, and I promise you, that if $1 million were being handed out for everybody that stayed the whole day, there would not be a seat in this house. Did you know that? If I were to say tonight, and I meant it, if I say I would give you $1 million first, of course I would have to have it, right? But if I would give every one of you $1 million, if you would stay here to midnight praying to God, you know, the people would start looking pious, wouldn't they? All of a sudden they're on their knees just praying. Even the child would start praying. You see, my friends, it is a supernatural work when we see our children that will sleep and play around all the way else, but when it comes to church, they won't do it. My friends, you better start getting your family together, because if your child is lost, do you know whose fault it is? First, parents, then child's, if the parent has not trained them up the right way. Because do you know that the many children today do not find an interest in spirituality because parents don't? If a parent barely picks up his Bible, what would make a child really believe that they should pick up their Bible? If we sit in meetings and don't open up our Bibles, the child says, well, I don't need to open up my Bible. It's not important. And you know you don't know the text. Is that right? You see, my friends, it is important that we get our house in orders now, because our children learn more by what they see us do than by what we say. And I'm telling you, when young people really learn this message, they love it so much that they're going to help in finishing the work. God is going to get an army of young people if they first be exposed to the message.